Do you ever notice that no matter what you do, day after day, that belly just keeps pushing out? You eat less, you walk more, you even skip dinner. And then you look in the mirror and think, what am I doing wrong? The doctor says it is just normal, just your age, but that helpless feeling is anything but normal. And what I am about to tell you might actually surprise you, because the problem is not that you are eating too much. The problem is that you are eating the wrong things right from the very first meal of the day, and your body is responding in ways you never expected. This is a truth that so many people discover way too late. Breakfast is not just your first meal of the day. It is a signal you send to your body, and that signal decides whether your body burns fat or stores fat for all the hours that follow. Most people are accidentally shutting off their fat burning system with their very first bite, and they do not even know it. But the good news is there are 10 specific foods you can start eating in the morning as early as this week, and each one works directly on the belly fat burning process in a completely different way. In today's video, I am going to walk you through each one, explain why it works, and most importantly, show you how to use it correctly so you do not accidentally cancel out the benefits. Number 1, eggs. When most people think about belly fat, the first thing they think is just eat less. But there is something quietly slowing down your fat burning that you probably never even thought about, and that is your liver. Your liver is the organ that decides whether fat gets burned or stored. And when fat starts building up inside the liver itself, everything slows down, especially around your midsection. The problem is that most people over 50 have some degree of fatty liver and they do not even know it. No pain, no obvious warning signs, just fat that keeps building up with no clear reason why. And this is exactly where eggs come in. Egg yolks are one of the richest natural sources of a nutrient called choline. Choline helps your liver package fat and move it out of the body so it can actually be burned. Without enough choline, fat builds up inside the liver and fat loss becomes harder all over your body. One large egg yolk contains about 147 milligrams of choline, and just 2 to 3 whole eggs in the morning gets you close to half of your daily requirement. On top of that, eggs are rich in an amino acid called leucine, which activates the process that tells your body to maintain and build muscle. And muscle is exactly what keeps your metabolism higher even when you are just sitting still. Research from the University of Illinois showed that eating whole eggs stimulates about 40% greater muscle building activity compared to eating egg whites alone, even when the total protein is exactly the same. That means when you throw away the yolk because you are worried about cholesterol, you are throwing away the most powerful part of the egg. And speaking of cholesterol, here is something most people do not realize. About 75 to 80% of the cholesterol in your bloodstream is actually produced by your own liver. It is not coming from the food you eat. So do not let that outdated fear stop you from eating one of the most effective fat-burning breakfast foods available. Aim for 2 to 3 whole eggs each morning. You can fry them, boil them, scramble them, however you like. I usually cook mine in grass-fed butter with a little salt and pepper. You can also pair them with sautéed vegetables, a few slices of avocado, or a slice of sprouted grain toast for some extra fiber. Eggs are one of the most versatile and powerful fat-burning foods you can possibly have first thing in the morning. Number 2, Greek yogurt. Have you ever finished breakfast, felt fine for about an hour, and then by 10 o'clock your stomach is already growling again, so you reach for a granola bar, a soda, or whatever is nearby? That is not a willpower problem. That is the protein you ate at breakfast digesting way too fast, causing your hunger hormones to climb back up just a couple hours later. This is where Greek yogurt can be a real game changer for you. And I am not talking about the kind with fruit on the bottom loaded with added sugar. I mean plain, full-fat, unsweetened Greek yogurt. The key difference is the type of protein it contains. Greek yogurt is rich in casein, which is a slow-digesting protein. When casein hits your stomach, it forms a thick gel-like consistency that slows down how quickly food leaves your stomach, which means nutrients are released gradually into your bloodstream over several hours. The result is that you stay fuller for longer and you are much less likely to start reaching for snacks mid-morning. On top of that, Greek yogurt contains live probiotic cultures, and your gut bacteria directly influence how your body handles the calories you eat. Certain strains of good bacteria can even boost production of GLP-1, which is one of your main fullness hormones. This is the same hormone that popular weight loss medications are designed to target. In a large-scale study at the King's College London Gut Microbiome Research Institute involving thousands of identical twins, people who regularly consumed yogurt with live cultures had significantly lower levels of visceral fat, the deep belly fat that surrounds your organs, compared to those who did not, even with the same genetics and the same upbringing. That tells you just how powerfully your gut environment influences where your body stores fat. What you want to avoid are the flavored yogurts, because many of them contain more than 20 grams of added sugar. That sugar spikes your insulin, tells your body to store fat instead of burning it, and then when your blood sugar drops, hunger comes right back. Choose 1 cup of plain, unsweetened, full-fat Greek yogurt, check the label for live and active cultures, and then add your own toppings. Fresh berries, chia seeds, a little cinnamon. All of these work with fat loss rather than against it. Number 3, avocado. Now, I want to talk about a food that a lot of people immediately shake their head at when they see it on a fat loss list. That food is avocado. If someone tells you to eat avocado when you are trying to lose belly fat, your first reaction might be that they are out of their mind. Too many calories, too much fat, it has got to slow things down. But here is what most people do not understand. Not all fats behave the same way inside your body. Avocado is loaded with a specific type of fat called oleic acid, which is a monounsaturated fat. And what makes it special is that when oleic acid enters your muscle cells, it actually activates the genes responsible for burning fat for energy. So instead of just sitting in your bloodstream, that fat gets put to work. The saturated fat in a fast food breakfast sandwich does not activate the same pathway. Oleic acid does, and that is a big difference. Beyond that, when researchers replaced carbohydrates at breakfast with a whole avocado, participants reported significantly greater fullness for up to 6 hours afterward. That means fewer cravings later in the day and fewer extra calories eaten overall. Avocado also improves insulin sensitivity, which means your cells respond more efficiently to insulin and your body needs less of it to manage your blood sugar. And when insulin stays low and steady, your body has a much easier time reaching into stored fat for energy. To get started, try half to a whole avocado each morning. You can slice it next to your eggs, spread it on sprouted grain toast, blend it into a smoothie, or just eat it straight with a little salt and pepper. You do not need a huge amount. You just need enough to send the right signal, and your body will take it from there. Number 4, steel cut or rolled oats. Next, let's talk about a carbohydrate that a lot of people eat every morning, but most are eating in the wrong form, and that is oats. Most carbohydrates break down into glucose. Glucose raises your blood sugar, insulin rises to move that sugar into your cells, and while that is happening, fat burning slows down. That is the typical pattern. But steel cut or old-fashioned rolled oats work very differently in your body. The reason is a special type of soluble fiber they contain called beta-glucan. Beta-glucan absorbs water and forms a thick gel inside your digestive tract, and that gel slows down how quickly food leaves your stomach. The result is a much more gradual rise in blood sugar and a steadier insulin response. Research at the Clinical Nutrition Center at the University of Toronto showed that beta-glucan can also boost production of GLP-1, the same fullness hormone we already talked about. But there is an even deeper layer that most people do not know about. When you cook oats and then let them cool, like in overnight oats, some of the starch reorganizes into something called resistant starch. Resistant starch does not get digested into glucose. Instead, it travels down to your colon, where your gut bacteria use it to activate something called AMPK. AMPK is the cellular energy switch that your body normally only turns on during exercise or fasting. When it gets activated, your body increases fat burning and improves insulin sensitivity. That means how you prepare your oats actually changes how powerful they are. Each morning, aim for about half a cup of dry, rolled, or steel-cut oats. Not instant oatmeal, because that version is pre-processed, often has added sugar, and has almost none of the benefits I just described. Organic is better when you can find it. To make overnight oats, soak half a cup of oats in half to 3/4 of a cup of unsweetened almond milk or plain water, cover it, and refrigerate overnight. In the morning, you can eat them cold or warm them up if you prefer. Add berries, chia seeds, or a little cinnamon to boost the flavor without affecting your insulin. Number 5, berries. Most people think fat cells are just simple storage containers that fill up and shrink down. but your body actually has two very different types of fat. White fat is what most people picture, and it mainly stores energy. Brown fat, on the other hand, actually burns energy to generate heat. As we get older, the amount of active brown fat we have tends to decline, which makes it easier to store calories and harder to burn them. But there is a breakfast food that can actually nudge your fat cells to start using more energy instead of just holding on to it. That food is berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries. Berries contain natural plant compounds called anthocyanins, which are what give them their deep red and purple colors. Anthocyanins are powerful antioxidants that protect your cells from damage, but what makes them especially interesting for fat loss is what happens over time with regular consumption. In a large study at King's College London involving 2,734 pairs of identical female twins, the women who consumed the most anthocyanins had 3 to 9% lower body fat, including less belly fat, compared to their twin who ate fewer of them, despite having identical genetics. Blueberries specifically were shown to have the strongest effect of all the berries studied. The important thing to understand is that not everything labeled as fruit delivers the same benefit. Fruit juice, even fresh squeezed orange juice, contains the sugar of 2 to 3 oranges without the fiber that normally slows that sugar down. The result is a fast spike in blood sugar, a surge in insulin, and fat burning gets shut off. Instead, aim for about 1 cup of whole berries each morning, fresh or frozen. Both work equally well. You can stir them into Greek yogurt, mix them into your overnight oats, or blend them into a smoothie. At around $3 to $5 a frozen bag, they are one of the most affordable ways to support fat loss every single day. Number 6, chia seeds. Now let's talk about something that solves the problem of hunger coming back too soon after breakfast. Chia seeds have a remarkable quality. When they are soaked in liquid, they absorb water and swell up significantly. Once they reach your stomach, they physically take up space, which sends fullness signals to your brain, and that feeling lasts much longer than you would expect, given how few calories they actually contain. In a study at Lund University in Sweden, just 1 tablespoon of chia seeds added to yogurt reduced calorie intake at the next meal by nearly 25%. Just 1 tablespoon, and there is more. When chia seeds absorb liquid and form that gel, it slows down your digestion, so energy is released gradually and steadily. You are far less likely to hit that mid-morning energy crash that sends you searching for a snack. To use chia seeds at breakfast, aim for 1 to 2 tablespoons with a maximum of 3, because going beyond that can cause digestive discomfort. You can stir them into Greek yogurt, mix them into overnight oats, or make a chia pudding by combining 2 tablespoons with half a cup of your favorite milk and letting it sit overnight. One important note, do not eat chia seeds dry, straight off the spoon. They can get stuck in your throat. Always let them soak for at least 10 to 15 minutes first, and you will get both the full benefit and a much better texture. Number 7, sprouted grain bread. A lot of people believe that losing belly fat means giving up bread completely. And if you are talking about white bread, muffins, or bagels from the coffee shop, then honestly, you are not wrong. Those digest so fast that your blood sugar spikes almost immediately, insulin surges, and fat burning stops. But not all bread behaves that way. Sprouted grain bread is made from grains that have begun to germinate, and that process fundamentally changes the structure of the grain. Some of the starch breaks down before you even eat it, the protein becomes easier to absorb, and the fiber becomes easier for your body to digest. As a result, it does not impact your blood sugar the way regular bread does. In a clinical trial at St. Michael's Hospital Research Institute in Toronto, when researchers compared different types of bread with the same amount of carbohydrates, sprouted grain bread produced the lowest blood sugar response of all, lower than white bread, lower than multigrain, and even lower than sourdough. One slice of Ezekiel sprouted bread has about 80 calories, 5 grams of protein, and 3 grams of fiber. Compare that to a plain bagel with 250 to 300 calories, 50 grams of fast-digesting carbs, and almost no fiber or protein. Same food category, completely different outcomes in your body. And here is a tip most people do not know. Sprouted grain bread is always sold frozen. When you toast it straight from the freezer, resistant starch forms in the process, which reduces the blood sugar response by up to 39% compared to eating it fresh. No extra cost, no extra effort, just toast it straight from the freezer. If you want to include bread at breakfast, stick to one slice and always pair it with a protein or a healthy fat. Eggs on top, avocado, natural peanut butter, or salmon. Bread should be the side, not the main event. Number 8. Grapefruit. Have you ever sat down to eat when you were really hungry and found yourself eating faster and taking bigger bites than you planned? When you start a meal already starving, your brain does not get the fullness signal quickly enough, and you end up eating more than your body actually needs. This is where half a grapefruit can help. Just eat half a grapefruit about 20 to 30 minutes before your main breakfast. This is not a second meal, just a small buffer. Grapefruit is mostly water and fiber, and those two things alone can reduce how much you eat at the meal that follows. But grapefruit does even more than that. It contains a natural compound called naringenin, which has been studied for its effects on metabolism. Researchers found it may help your liver process sugar more efficiently and could slightly increase the number of calories your body burns at rest. In clinical trials, people who ate grapefruit before their meals lost 3 to 4 pounds over 12 weeks without making any other changes, and they also had lower insulin levels after eating. And as we have already talked about, when insulin stays lower, your body has an easier time tapping into stored fat. When you eat grapefruit, do not scrape away all the white pith underneath the skin. That slightly bitter white layer is actually where the highest concentration of beneficial compounds is found. One important note though, grapefruit is powerful enough to interact with certain medications, especially statins and some blood pressure drugs. So if you are on any prescription medications, check with your doctor before making it a daily habit. Number 9, leafy greens. Have you ever had this experience where you are not actually hungry, but you still want something sweet or salty or crunchy? That kind of craving is not coming from your stomach. It is coming from your brain. Researchers call it hedonic hunger, which is craving driven not by a need for energy, but by the brain seeking pleasure or reward. And this is exactly why so many people find themselves reaching for snacks around 10:30 in the morning, even after eating a full breakfast. What is interesting is there is a compound inside leafy greens that can directly reduce that type of craving. That compound is called thylakoid, which are structures found inside green leaves. When you consume enough thylakoids, they help slow down how quickly fat is broken down in your intestines. As that partially digested fat reaches the lower portion of your digestive tract, your body sends out hormonal signals that reduce cravings, and not just hunger, but specifically the urge to snack on junk food. In a 3-month study at Lund University, women who consumed spinach extract containing thylakoids experienced up to a 95% reduction in junk food cravings and lost significantly more weight than the control group without any extra willpower required. For people over 50, leafy greens offer an additional layer of benefit. They contain natural nitrates that help improve blood flow and muscle efficiency. These are not the same as the synthetic nitrates found in processed meats. These are naturally occurring ones that your body processes in a completely different way. Research has shown that a dose of nitrates equivalent to about 1 cup of leafy greens can improve muscle power within just a few hours. The easiest way to get leafy greens into breakfast is to blend them into a smoothie. Take 1 to 2 large handfuls of spinach or kale, add half to 1 cup of berries to keep the sugar low, add a scoop of collagen protein, and blend it all with ice and your favorite unsweetened nut milk. You will barely taste the greens, but your body will feel the difference all morning long. Number 10, black coffee. And finally, let's talk about something almost everyone already has in their hand every morning, coffee. Before you decide whether this is good news or bad news, let me be clear. The effect depends entirely on how you drink it. Caffeine in black coffee signals your nervous system to release stored fat into your bloodstream, a process called fat mobilization. If you stay active, even just a light walk or simply maintaining a slight caloric deficit, that released fat can be used for energy. Coffee also increases your metabolic rate for a few hours after drinking it, which is part of why you feel warmer and more alert after a cup. But here's the mistake most people make. They turn their coffee into dessert. Flavored syrups, sugar, sweetened creamers, all of those push your blood sugar up and shut down fat burning almost immediately. So if you want to use coffee as a tool, keep it black or add just a small splash of unsweetened milk if you need it. And here is how I personally upgrade my coffee on mornings when I do not feel like eating at all. I brew organic black coffee, add 1 tablespoon of grass-fed butter, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, and 1 scoop of collagen protein. Then blend it all together until it is smooth and creamy. No sugar, no carbs, but the healthy fats provide steady energy for hours. The collagen supplies amino acids to protect your muscle, and because there is no sugar, your insulin stays low and your body stays in fat burning mode longer. This is not a full meal replacement, but it is a great bridge on busy mornings when you are not ready to eat. It keeps your body working for you instead of just waiting around. Belly fat does not have to be an inevitable part of getting older, and it certainly does not have to be permanent. When you start sending your body the right signals from the very first meal of the day, supporting your liver with eggs, feeding your good gut bacteria with Greek yogurt, stabilizing your blood sugar with oats and sprouted bread, and quieting those cravings with leafy greens and chia seeds, your body will start working with you instead of against you. You do not need to change everything at once. Start with one or two foods from this list and pay attention to how you feel after a few weeks. Small, consistent changes in the morning are what create real, lasting results over time. If this video helped you, please share it with someone you care about so they can avoid the same breakfast mistakes that are slowing down their fat loss. Hit that like button so this video can reach more people, and subscribe so we can keep learning together in the next one.